Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Duel Screens Podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Stephen Fontana, and with me, as always, he is gushing this morning. He is radiating, exuding excitement and anticipation. It's here. It's finally here, Andy. It's Andy Asimakis. How are you, buddy?
Buddy, if I ever poo-poo or complain about an internet petition or a campaign to bring back a franchise or change a franchise, if I ever do that, just stop what you're doing, hop in a cab, come over and just punch you right in the face, because I feel like the tides are turning and voices can be heard, and this game is a monument to that sentiment.
Indeed, Andy. And joining us, that I mean, the hype is real at this point, but joining us is Kaja Borówko and Sean Halliday of Tate Multimedia, creator of Kao the Kangaroo, 3D platformer revival of the beloved Dreamcast mascot. Welcome to the show. How are yous?
Guys?
Excited for many different things. Football reasons, video game reasons, KO reasons. So
a lot of reasons.
We can talk again, actually, second time, because we spoke to you at PAX, of course.
We did. Yeah. We had quite the experience. You guys had quite the experience at PAX, because you were kind of like shoved in a corner, in this dark, dimly lit corner, but you always had a packed booth and a line that wrapped around the booth, and people just dying to play KO. And when we got our hands on it, we could see why. Andy, I didn't play the original, but this revival has quite the origin story. So I think that's a good place to start.
Yes.
Where we kind of picked this beloved punching kangaroo and revitalized them. Can we go into that a little bit? Tell us the story.
Wow.
I've only been with Tate for a year or so, but I'm kind of filled in the history, and my partner's Polish, so it's kind of funny that she grew up playing these games and now I'm working on them. I collect games, as you can tell, and back in the day I did own an original copy of KO on the Dreamcast, so it was kind of weird. I wasn't sure what KO was back then. It was just something that I think I picked up in a car boot sale, actually, so it's kind of funny that this little kangaroo has now become such a big focal point of my life. But the series is 21 years old, started off in the Dreamcast. It's been on pretty much everything that you'd expect. So PlayStation, the Xbox, GameCube, PC, PSP, Game Boy Advance. Now it's going to be on the next gen system, well, current gen systems, I guess. And no, it's kind of it's strange to think that this little kangaroo that I've had experience with in my life has now become such a primary point of it. But obviously, for a more detailed story, I'll have to pass it on to my esteemed colleague.
Indeed.
Well, yes. So the story of KO is, like we mentioned, really quite long, and it's like Sean mentioned, you would need to be here, I guess. Where KO was born, meaning Poland, to see how big it really is, like, and how important it is for, I would say, at least one generation. And to understand that, I think we would need to, go back to those days where, 20 years ago in Poland, not everyone owned all the possible consoles that were available internationally, so to say, or at least not in their authentic version.
Oh. I like that. I use that.
Sorry, Andy knows all about that.
Yeah, that's my whole life is about authentic versions of things.
So, yeah. And KO was available on PC, right? So that's something that most people already had here. And it was later on also picked up added to what was big back then as well, those newspapers where you had some CD with a game,
Yeah.
I don't know
PlayStation Magazine, the official PlayStation
okay, it wasn't a
Magazine
PlayStation magazine, but almost.
Right, but they had the little demo disc. That's why I subscribed to that every month, because it was yay demos.
Yep, hooray!
Yeah, and it might have been, maybe even the only newspaper. Not the only newspaper, but for sure in every one of them at some point, one or all of the KO games of the original trilogy were available. And another place where it was also pretty big, and I think that it became even more popular, not only in Poland, but so to say around Poland, where, I don't know if you've ever heard of those markets, where you sell, or you used to sell, not exactly authentic games.
We live
in other products.
We live in New York,
was also
so
big.
Yeah.
Though I never saw games in New York on the streets. Movies, like bootleg movies, DVDs for sure, but like pirated games.
You don't remember, like the original PlayStation? My dad used to bring home shopping bags full of burned CDs of games because I had that little chip that went in the back of the PlayStation that turned it into a pirate ship.
Mecca.
Yeah, it was.
I think that's something that a lot of people kind of overlook now. Is we think of piracy now as this big evil thing, and of course, there's a lot of topics to talk about that. But the PlayStation 1, because from my background, my family aren't exactly poor, but we call it working class. So you couldn't afford a new game every few months; they were expensive. Sure. So everyone at school would have their chipped PlayStation, and someone's cousin of a friend of their cousin, brother's sister's dad would have the ability of burning a disc off, and that's how you got to experience so many different games rather than just saving up 40, 50, 60 pounds, which was a lot of money for a kid in school. And then you get the off chance you buy something that turns out to be trash, So I think a lot of people experienced a lot of games through piracy, and this as Kaja said, especially in Eastern Europe, because the resources in the games coming sometimes just didn't actually arrive. And one of the funny things, just going briefly on that topic, is my partner actually learned a lot of her English initially through pirated games. And I've spoken to a few people when I've been in Poland throughout the years, and they've had similar things. So it's kind of weird to see how we're in different countries. Obviously, all four of us, sorry, but we still have somewhat of a similar experience through this kind of joint thing that's kind of became a taboo topic to talk about.
Yeah, this sounds like it makes a strong case for it's like advocating piracy in a way. Like
okay, yeah. Let's really stop there. I just wanted to say where how it became so popular. Okay, but and it's true that it's fun. What I was trying to say is that really, every person who went to those markets had that game. Okay. Plus, later on, also those newspaper versions as well. Absolutely. But again, as a disclaimer, first of all, it was also big in the distribution and international distribution and local distribution.
Oh, I remember KO. Like that's the thing. Like exactly. I don't think I ever played KO, but I remember KO. I remember seeing the box art everywhere. Like I remember this being a thing. But now, 20 years later, it's a thing again. And the reason why is because people screamed loud enough that they wanted it, basically. And it finally has happened. Can you talk a little bit about getting from a dormant, globally forgotten, I guess not in Poland because of your damn newspapers, but like everywhere else it was just like, oh, okay, what's KO? But now we're back and people are falling in love all over again. How did you get to this revival period?
The main thing really was the Bring Back the KO campaign. Obviously, I wasn't around during that time, but I've spent a lot of time looking back and researching the game, the history, and especially the community. So the series is obviously dormant for a while, and Tate were working on different projects, mainly the Urban Trial series and Steel Rats. And then there was this an account called Bring Back KO. It was literally called Bring Back KO. You can find them on Twitter even this day, called KO Central. And they essentially started this movement on social media saying that they would like to see the series back, and it kind of got more traction, more and more traction. And I think at the time you were starting to see the initial rumblings of the 3D platformer resurgence, at least the hunger for it. It started off at a very grassroots level with indie people making these new games that were inspired by stuff of the past. As with any creative media, it doesn't matter if it's music, television, books, comics, everyone gets inspired by the stuff they grew up with, right? And the market didn't really have a lot of it at the time because we're focusing on, MOBAs, Battle Royales, these big kind of bloated open world experiences, and people just want something that's a bit more simplistic and something that, give them a reminder of the past because we're all feeling old now, of course. So that social media campaign grew and grew and grew. Tate released Kao the Kangaroo on Steam, the second one, with a bit of rejig visuals, a little bit of a facelift. It went down really well. And I believe that's where, they started to look at a new entry in the series, and it's kind of just snowballed from there. So when we say, and this is what we try to reflect on our community, and like I said to you guys at PAX, and you see this with the demo when we brought it out, the first one, part of the Steam Next Fest, every bit of feedback, it doesn't matter how ridiculous, how detailed, anything, right? We would sit there and we would take back every little tiny bit of feedback. Doesn't matter if it's, I don't like this color, or I don't like the way Kao does this, or if it was something ridiculously complex. We looked at everything and we took that into account and fed it back to our team, because this is truly a series that only exists now because the fans wanted it. Without the fans, we wouldn't be doing it. So we need to reflect that. And it's not a PR gimmick. It's not a marketing gimmick. We don't actually sit there and just kind of throw them aside and go, it looks good for PR. We generally listen to literally everything. So when we get fan art come in, we get these people that are excited. Doesn't matter if they're new fans, old fans, returning fans, people that even initially, can we swear? Are we allowed to swear?
You can swear.
People that initially shit talk Kao the Kangaroo, they start off like, it's just a crash rip.
Shit talk Kangaroo.
Listen, I was a shit talker too. I was like, what? Why is this kangaroo from like 1,000 years ago trying to mount a comeback? Like, who are you?
Exactly. But
who are you to do this? How dare you, sir?
It's more of an invitation. You like Crash Bandicoot, and you like Sparrow, and you like Glover, Croc, and you're like, well, what is this? Because I've never heard of it. And then we take that as invitation, like, well, if you like these things, you might like this. So that's why we try to kind of encourage people to just have discussions and get involved. And that's why we're very big on showing the older titles when we have the opportunity, or talking a bit about the production of this one and the kind of things we want to do. So like I said, it's not PR, it's not a gimmick, it's not any sort of marketing spiel. We really are listening to everything, because without the fans, this one wouldn't be here. So we're hoping, we're pretty confident, especially after the kind of results we saw from PAX and some of the previews, that we've built something that is going to be really good for the old fans. They're going to get that bit of nostalgia, but also something a bit fresh, so they can, have a new experience. And then people that just like 3D platformers will find something that they really enjoy.
You need to take your entire team that's making this game, and just when they're done, have them teach big developers how to properly create a game and take in feedback and not even delay it. Like, what an idea. You guys actually are taking all this feedback from all these fans, tweaking, polishing, and the game's still coming out on time. And there's no like, right. Okay, we're gonna push it back 2 years, or some shit like that.
I think I briefly mentioned this to you guys at PAX as well. So the release date we sat on for a while, and it's very obvious now that we just had Starfield and Redfall delayed. These big games will come out with a release date and they'll get delayed. A good example is Cyberpunk. And that does erode the trust between, it sounds technical terms, but we'll say the fans or the consumers and the people making the game. And whether or not that's a negative, but we wanted to make sure when we had a release date, that was a release date. So that's why we took a long time to come out with it. A lot of people were surprised and like, oh, it's coming out so soon. Why? Well, that was the reason. This hasn't been a game that just popped up on the ground. But we wanted to make sure that here's the release date and it comes out on this date. No delays, no nothing, just release date. You can get yourself set, put your feet up, wait for the game to come out with no worries.
It's also shocking that the game is coming out so soon, because you wouldn't, like, it's there. Like, it's so gorgeous. And, like, you wouldn't expect the love and the detail to be put into that, and you're just like, oh no, something like this has to take longer than that, and like no, like the love and care is put into this, and it plays like we wish these games played before, like smooth, beautiful, just fluid. You like everything, the camera works. It's just you took it, and I think that's one of those things that when you're picking up the controller and you're playing this for the very first time, you're not just, you could tell that you're not just going for the cheap nostalgia grab. Like that's not what this is, because honestly, I don't know who the fuck Kao the Kangaroo is. Like, yeah, you're tickling the nostalgia of my 3D platformer when I was a kid, like Croc. Like I grew up on Croc on PlayStation. I had PlayStation before I had 64. So Croc was my first 3D platformer that I ever played, and it was dope. And there was a little kangaroo that you fought in the first level, by the way. He was the boss. He had boxing gloves and everything. Yeah. So, I'm not saying we could do a crossover, but I'm saying the IP is...
I would like to have a crossover. I'm a big fan of Croc. I still have the original PC big box.
You got to do
a few times on Twitter.
Bring back Croc, okay? Hashtag
that Twitter handle.
Bring
Just make the handle.
Croc. Can we make it? Oh wait, we can make it pirate themed. Okay, a pirate themed Croc game we called Crop of Ship. Croc of Ship. There we go. Croc of Ship.
No, when you were talking about
I'm a genius,
just pop up and the controls all work. The game's been in development for a chunk of time. Obviously, Kaja will be able to tell you a bit more information about that. But yeah, we didn't want just to kind of cash in on nostalgia. And one of the good things about being independent is, we don't have to answer to a publisher. We don't have to worry about the intrusive, I guess, activities of people who are investing in the game or trying to kind of direct it towards a trend, for example, which you see quite a lot in big budget games, which is expected. I think it's pretty easy just to kind of punch up on large studios, but we have to remember that development costs are getting higher and higher. So the path for failure is becoming shorter and shorter. So when we say these things, it's not because we're trying to take a jab at AAA. It's just we want to kind of allow people to appreciate our position in the market, our size, and also that when we have an idea, we have essentially the creative freedom and time, which is important, to work with it. So when we have the time, the freedom, and the resources, and we mix the vocal fan base with that, and we can take their feedback, it allows us to make exactly what you're talking about, something that really hits the mark, isn't just a cash-in on nostalgia,
right?
Something a little bit different, a little bit new. And one of the main things for me, especially, I saw this at PAX multiple times, is I am a big fan of what I like to call gateway games. So it kind of bridges the gap between generations. And we had people come with their families. There was a guy who had like 4 kids. And I was like, wow.
Oh my God, it's so sweet.
How does he have time to play these games? But he had 2 sets of kids on each one. And he was also playing, and they were kind of, having a lot of fun and pointing stuff out and reacting to it. And that's the kind of stuff that I personally like to see. So that was kind of a very satisfying moment for me in seeing how this game was impacting people and how they could have shared enjoyment regardless of their age, their background, their demographics. I think now, especially with big games again, things get boiled down to this game is aimed at these people and this is our demographic. We didn't really want to do that. And I think we've kind of done a good job of making it accessible, but not too easy. And not to the point where it's ridiculously hard. And yeah, we're happy with it, especially with PAX. But in terms of the development side, I think Kaja would have more insight on that, because I'm mostly just the guy who does the tweets and does the research.
No. Well, I would like to add something about what we were talking about, because it is really important to mention that the team that the development team was largely also, the team members were largely fans themselves. So this is also interesting, because you have all those, we had some veterans who worked on the original games as well, but then most of the team was remembered the game from when they were playing it as young children, right? So that's why we had this really cool aspect of this real passion and real excitement on working on something. And again, so with that size and all those benefits that come with it that Sean mentioned, we also, of course, have our limitations. And it's actually, we don't need to answer to anyone about the time and anything, but as we know, we did need to answer to something like the bills, for example. So it's not like we have unlimited time and unlimited resources, and it's quite the opposite, actually. So you have this very small, really, group of people who choose to work on it as well, and they because nowadays in the market here. As you know, we have so many studios. People can work everywhere they want. They can work on any game that they want, really. Especially such talented people as worked on Kao. So they really wanted to work on it, and because they also had, I would say, a lot of freedom compared to how you normally would work in a big studio, for example. Yeah. They were bringing that excitement. They were bringing that passion into it and heart, and they wouldn't let it be anything less than they could accept. Yeah, of course. And it's also we don't want to say that everyone who will pick up the game now and play it's going to go super smoothly and they won't have a single bug going from the beginning. Okay, so
it is a video game. It is a video game that they have those things.
It is, and also that other thing is that we also realize that the release of a game is just the start of development. Okay, it's not just the start, but it's it's the start of something new.
Yeah, it's another chapter. Yeah, it's another chapter. You're not closing the book. It's not like the old days where you just ship the thing and if it's broken, it's broken. You're gonna make improvements because now you're gonna have this net is gonna be cast much wider. You love feedback. Well, guess what? You're gonna get lots of it.
Yeah, we realize that.
You're gonna get a metric shit ton of people talking about this game. Not just here on Duel Screens, which we will. Oh man, we will. But yeah, I mean that's something that a lot of our you don't have a separate group like a larger studio or AAA studio or a publisher would have to handle post-release stuff. Like a lot of the AAA teams, they'll be like, all right, well, 90% of you work on the next thing. 10% of you work on the bug fixes and, iterations and patches and all that stuff. But you're if you did 10% of that, it would be what, you maybe, I don't know how many people would be doing that. So it's just not the same. So you have to be a little bit more hands-on, right? You need to be until this game is truly where the fans want it to be, where it needs to be, which we know that it's great. We've played, spoiler alert, the game's phenomenal, and we can't wait to get our hands on the whole thing and play the whole, all that fun stuff. But, like you said, it's a new chapter, and you're going to put the time into that new chapter before you move on to something else, as opposed to just moving on to something else and letting this thing kind of just pitter out into the ether. Plus, this thing's got legs. KO's got legs. You could do this for forever if you really wanted to. I think, KO's got it.
It's more it's not if we like it. It's more if people like it.
Right, exactly. Exactly. Yeah.
So yeah, we definitely. So that's another thing because we we've been with this title for a while now. So we've been working on it for over 3 years. And the story of how it evolved is also pretty interesting because it wasn't we knew right away that this is how the new KO is going to look like. It took us a while. And again, that's something interesting for an indie studio like us because we really took a lot of time thinking over and taking that feedback into account as well. what to do, because people, that's another problem, that's with feedback, you have this issue that everyone has a different opinion, right? So it's kind of difficult to to implement everyone's ideas, even though you would like to, right?
Right.
Especially when they're kind of contradictory. So we ended up with what we had, and we've been working at it for like 3 years, like 3 good years. So we have lots of ideas of how to develop it further and where it can go, what to improve. That's another thing. Like people, you know how funny it is when you get the comments on something that you had huge discussions internally before. It's because again, internally we also needed to make some certain sacrifices, right?
Right, of course.
Or we are aware of certain things and so on, and then we see it coming from the outside, and we were like, yeah, see, I told you, or something like that.
One guy said it too. I see.
Exactly.
I had a whole PowerPoint, and no one listened to me.
No one listened to me, but at least 3 neckbeards at PAX told me this.
Yeah.
That guy Steve, he told me it when he was covered in Dorito dust.
I think that the way the team is comprised of both these veterans who were there when Kao was birthed into the world, and you have these fans who were playing the game when it first came out and are now working on it, have brought decades of 3D platform experience with them. And I'm sure they've even fantasized about, how could I improve this game that I love so much? It's like why Sonic Mania worked so well. It was a fan driven project that Sega backed. And so, you know what? These fans know what these games need to be successful, to be fun again. And that collaborative effort was a huge success. And now on your side, you have the same thing. It's just fans and the creators coming together with all that shared knowledge and making the best game that they can. It's like the old saying, it's like by the fans, for the fans, through and through. And it shows in every pixel, every model, every aspect of the game. It shines through so brilliantly.
That's a good one. We will use it in some.
Boom!
We will. Yeah, Sean. Let's remember that. Let's use it in some communication. By the fans. Good one. Yeah. No, but it's interesting what you say. But also the veterans versus the new generation.
The newbies, yeah.
Well, not so newbies, but the new generation. It's exactly. So it helps to do exactly what you mentioned. So bring all those, bring all the experience from both sides, right? But again, also during development, and especially when it's so long for us, I would say, it's a very interesting process because you can also see those differences of how the old games were made, right? And then nowadays with completely new technology, with completely new inspirations as well, and so combining all of it is it was fun.
What was the most challenging part when you first tackled this? Because you have a lot of fans behind you. They're cheering you on, but there's also that pressure of, all right, we're doing what they want to do, but we have to live up to this expectation in some ways, and we have to. Because Kao, as a mascot, as a game, he's stuck in time 20 years ago. And I was coming back in a post Hat in Time, Crash Bandicoot, even Pumpkin Jack, these like brand new 3D platforming games. How do we make ours like respect the IP, our baby, Kao, and also elevate it where it's worthwhile for all of us to jump in and give it our love and attention again?
Yeah, that was in fact, but it was in fact one of our biggest challenges, I would say, or maybe points of discussions, because like you said, we knew that we have this very strong fan base, but it's not enough nowadays, of course, to just, especially with a project that big for us, we wouldn't be able to afford making it just for that community, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we did, of course, want to introduce or potentially remind maybe some people where it rings a bell somewhere about this game, and we like you said, we wanted to appeal to them as well. So how to do that without like disrespecting the fans was something that we debated a lot on, because even starting from the character, right?
Right.
So we had at least 3 already working models for KO. So one was the most accurate, so to say, compared to the old games. Although the fans would still probably say that it's different. Then we had a little bit older KO, because we thought that, okay, so everyone is older. Should he be older as well? Like what should
little kangaroo beard
coming down, gray whiskers.
It wasn't that.
He's got like withered, like beat up gloves, like they're falling apart, and or it's like a comeback.
Exactly.
Like he's like overweight, out of shape.
I'm too old for this.
They did that for what was it, Banjo-Kazooie? Remember that Nuts and Bolts game? They were like just a parody of like platforming. They were like out of shape. It's been years, and it was just so dumb. I want to forget about that game that it exists. But anyway, continue. It's not a good game.
But you're giving us some new ideas again. So
sure, yeah, cars. That's what Banjo needs. Cars.
Oh, if you want ideas, we got it. We got ideas.
Yeah, they're not good ideas, but they're ideas, all right.
What do you mean? You got T. You got the little Joey kangaroo, the Joey T-T-E-E, TKO. Get it?
You guys.
Because of the fighting.
Do I?
I think he just like Donkey Kong Jr. this game right now.
Look at that. You got that?
Spun it off to a whole different thing.
Yeah, we did it. It's a co-op experience. We're I don't know. Let's stop where we're going, because listen, bring Croc back.
But listen, forget Croc. All right, so go on. So again, the challenges of looking at this thing from a wide angle lens and saying, how do we do this right? Like, how do we just do it?
I have a question. I have a more specific question. Now, which camp, the OGs who made, KO back in the day, and the new blood who are pretty much solely responsible for getting this thing like the attention it needs and is actually happening, who led the charge here when it came to design? Like, I understand there's a collaboration, yada, 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 PR speak. But, like, somebody had to be the foot down person. Was that a new blood or an original gangster?
I want to say the new blood.
New blood. Ooh. Damn right it was. You damn right it was.
But no, it may be a little bit. Oh, I don't know. If I said. I don't know.
No, that's good. Like,
can we go back to the collaboration part?
Yeah, somebody who was there from the beginning has knowledge of the IP, has knowledge of the spirit of the character, has knowledge of intent for KO, whereas the new blood has experience in. Not to say that the old blood doesn't have experience in newer platformers and stuff like that. That's not where I'm going with it, but they have their finger on the pulse a little bit more of why is this thing coming back? Like, this thing's coming back for a reason, and our generation is sort of that reason. A lot of us are in game development now, and a lot of us have these tools that are very easy to learn for a lot of people. Like, there are a ton of really smart people out there that have, Unity or whatever, and like they could just make a game now. Like, it's crazy. Not us. Not we're the dumb idiots. We can never do that. We know how to hit record and talk into a microphone. And Andy barely knows how to do that. Like, but like
it is a challenge every day.
But
struggle is real.
You each bring something to the table, but like there's something to be said about a passionate group of people who grew up on something that now have the it's like a lightning bolt of technology, that things are evolving so quick. And it's not like how it was in the old days where you had to wait for the newest and best engine or technology to come out, like, and Nintendo to hand you a breadcrumb. You didn't have to wait for that anymore. Now you can just make a game and Nintendo comes to you and they're like, hey, can we have it?
I wish, but
I mean, it has happened.
Sure. And all those dev kits that we were waiting for, I will tell our producer that he just got them like that.
But what I'm saying is, you didn't have to wait for the kit to make the game at all. Like back in the day, it was Nintendo. Like, you want to make something for the Atari? Okay, I mean, good luck. But or it was for the PC. Like. Nintendo was the thing. So if you didn't have the Nintendo thing, you didn't make the Nintendo game. Like, that was it. Now you could have a completely functional game on your PC and shop it around and get it out on pretty much anything you want. And that's incredible. And that's so fast, and it's so... we love it. Like, when we see all of these games coming out and we're like, yes, you could get this on anything. Anybody could play this thing. Even mobile is a huge... And now with Microsoft doing their cloud and PlayStation with their cloud services, like, you could literally play these games anywhere. That anybody could get their hands on these games, and I think that's got to make development of them. I know that the porting is difficult, but it's got to make getting a team together of passionate people who have experience has to be easier than ever before. And I just imagine that group of people has so much to give to specifically reviving an old IP or a genre, or making iterations to something that they grew up with. They just have so many tools now, and they could just do it.
It definitely makes
it sounds so fantastic. I'm not even going to comment to ruin any of what you said.
That's because I just did a lot of work on it.
I wouldn't. No. I wouldn't want to ruin it. It was amazing. Yeah, that's exactly how I hope everyone will remember that.
Sean, you were going to say something there?
It does make marketing easier because, if you're just marketing the one group of people that have one system, you're kind of struggling against it. And, we've seen a lot of people, especially on social media, some will buy on the Switch, some will buy physically, some will buy digitally, because we're supporting physical and digital, with various different partners, as you saw at PAX, with limited run. But we're going to have different partners for Europe as well. So it's a benefit to have it out on so many different systems in so many different methods. Yesterday we said that we're on, revealed that we're on Epic as well as Steam. It'd be nice if we get Steam. What's it called? Oh, Steam Deck. It'd be nice if we got Steam Deck verification from Papa Gabe. But one day maybe.
We already know it works, though, right?
Yeah, it still works.
For everyone.
But we like
for everyone to know, you don't need that tick. We know it works.
On Twitter.
I can't see why it wouldn't work. I mean,
we're all picks off Steam and Twitter. Twitter won't verify us. I think they fear us,
Really?
But in general,
they did a verifying freeze, I think, didn't they?
Yeah, I know, but they should give it to us.
I mean, it's cool. KO. Come on, man.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But no, it's been really cool to see the amount of people that, come from different platforms, different backgrounds. I'm not the biggest fan of the whole console war stuff. It was a fun gimmick in the 90s, and I love the marketing that they did there, retrospectively. But for a community and kind of culture-wise, I don't like this whole PlayStation Xbox thing, because the two systems are very close together. So we don't really want people to feel like they're being, I guess, gated off depending on their system. Right. So it's really refreshing that we can release on pretty much everything and bring everyone together. So yeah, it's nice. I don't know how that really takes in the mindset of developers, of course, because that's not my background, but from the community building and social media, it's really cool to see people excited to buy it on whatever platform they can, and they have the option. For me personally, it's always good when the consumer has the option and not forced into a cloud service or forced into a digital-only release, for example. Obviously, I prefer physical, so it was very cool for me when I heard that we're going to have physical on all of our systems, apart from PC.
Speaking of, you're not going to be everywhere if you're not on Stadia. Are you on Stadia? Google Stadia,
we will.
The hottest thing. I don't know if you've heard about it.
Of course, yes. We're actually in the middle of bringing our other game to Stadia.
Okay.
Very tricky. So we need to take it, one game at a time.
I get it.
So
we actually,
and I really like how you're discussing, this from consumer perspective, from community perspective, no, from developers perspective. Yeah, there is nothing we love so much as optimization. Everyone will tell you that. Everyone is just waiting to work on the optimization.
That's their favorite part. I get it.
And porting, yeah.
Forget about those polygons. We want optimization. Let's go for it.
Two things I want to add to. I mean, first of all, Kaja, you just drank out of a KO cup a second ago, and I need like a sleeve of that in my kitchen at all times. So that's the first thing.
Oh my god, I'm drinking.
Oh my god, I love it.
Of a to-go container, and yes, this is coffee.
Oh wow!
God, it's like that's what they bring you, like your egg drop soup in.
Correct.
Jesus, dude.
Correct. It's only 2.
Clearly a man with children. That's what that says to me. But speaking of kids, yeah, Sean, to your point, the whole console wars thing, I feel like for a lot of us who are of age, we just grew up and got jobs, and you can just go out and get all the things we want because that barrier is gone. I can only afford one thing. So I'm going to buy the one thing, and it's got to be the best one thing.
Mom bought me the one thing.
Well, yeah, but, your mom
and I'm
going to
defend her purchase till I die.
Right. Well, it's by proxy also your purchase. So because you made the choice, Mom, get me the Genesis, get me the NES.
Made that choice, Andy. You didn't make that choice with your first console.
They were gifted to me.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I didn't make that choice.
My parents were like, you ain't getting jack shit from us. Either you're eating or you're playing stupid games. So we're choosing food.
One of the curious things with especially the 3D platformers is they were essentially born platformers from a position of being a mascot for a brand.
Right.
PlayStation was Crash Bandicoot, and I guess Spyro to a certain level. Mario is obviously still Nintendo. Xbox, I guess, was Blinks the Time Cat. I don't know. Sega was Sonic.
I love it.
They were very specific to their certain platforms, and their role, maybe not initially, but eventually became that they would showcase what that system had to offer. So obviously, Sonic was a lot quicker than Mario because Genesis does what Nintendo don't. You had Blinks the Time Cat with it had a better look to it, but no one really remembers it. Funnily enough, a game about time traveling and no one remembers it. But yeah, and now everything's kind of come together. And unfortunately, some of the titans of the genre have kind of been folded into different things. So the guys who were developing Crash Bandicoot have now kind of became part of that Call of Duty tidal wave, which is all consuming. They've consumed the Raven Software, one of the titans of classic FPS, and now they've consumed this. So while we do have a lot of them coming back, we're also seeing little gaps emerge. Mm-hmm. And I feel that's something that's really beneficial for us as a community because the indie guys have kind of stepped up to fill in the gaps where the AAA have taken away. And again, the resurgence of 3D platformers really started to kick off with your Kickstarter games. Like A Hat in Time was a big one, obviously. Ukulele, Pumpkin Jack, and we're seeing more and more kind of pop up. Even the 2D stuff, I think Konami published a game called Skull Kid, which is a little bit similar.
Skull Kid is such a good roguelike. I love that game.
We're really starting to see these collections of games come together, and because they're no longer representing one system, it's nice because people aren't really arguing over it anymore. You still see the occasional thing.
There's plenty of arguing.
Between PlayStation, Xbox, but again, I think that's a very distinctive subset of the community, buyers, remorse, etc., etc. Thankfully, we've really seen that.
I feel like it's more ironic. It's more like a not ironic, but a show. It's like a theatrical performance now. It's like the entire world could see us arguing right now, so let's make it good. Like that. That's kind of like we have a friend of the show, Buzz, who is like an Xbox, like he is an Xbox. I'm pretty sure if you get him close enough to an outlet, he will power on and you can play you can shove a disc in his mouth and he'll play something. Like he's basically an Xbox. And we just love it. We love to go back and forth with the flame viral mouth vomit of who's better, who does what, because Andy and I are grew up PlayStation. And we always have that, but at this point it's just like we just want everybody to do well. Like, that's really what it comes down to. Like, we're not going to sit here and pretend that PlayStation's perfect. We're not going to sit here and pretend that Xbox has games. We were told they were making so many, and then, nothing's happening. But like, that's what we do. Like, it's fun. We just poke fun at each other. But you also have these like games like KO, and games that are coming out of it's out of necessity, really. Like, that's why we love indie games so much. That's why we do what we do for the indie games, because there's been a massive switch, really, from like PS3 360 era, where indies are what keeps the generations afloat now, and the AAA does all the fanfare. They do all the the massive whatever, the billboards and like the big booths at the thing. Like, they do all that to get the eyeballs, but the players are playing the games that you guys are making. That's really what this comes down to. It's like that's what's filling the store shelves. That's what's filling your library. There's like 5 new roguelikes that came out this week and last week, like, and they're all phenomenal. Like 2 or 3 years ago when we started this show, Andy, it was all Metroidvanias. There was like 8 of them, and they were all great. And we didn't get a Metroid until last year. Like
a proper Metroid,
proper Metroid, and it was like 9 years before the last one. It's like, what are we doing? Well, guess what? The indie devs are gonna do it, and they're gonna do it to the best of their ability, and a lot of times it's fucking better. So that's why we do this. We because there are people who don't have the platform to tell people about their games, and we love that.
It's funny. I would honestly take a KO or a Croc or a Gex. Or a Bubsy or a Ristar done well.
I would even take an Earthworm Jim at this point.
I would take all those games done well. Like, the excitement level I feel for those way goes over what I feel for like the next Mario Odyssey or Galaxy game, because those, I feel, there's passion, but they're also a product that they're making. There's a formula to it that they know why it sells so well. And because of that, it's not as exciting for me for when a new one of those comes out. I mean, for many, I'm sure it is. But when I see a game like KO come back after 20 years, that really gets me going. Because it's familiar, but it's also so fresh at the same time. Yeah. And it's completely driven by passion. And that's why we need more of these kind of games. I do want to ask one more thing before we jump into our fun rapid fire segment. I know you guys are very open with your community. Of course, you're taking so much feedback. You're very transparent. But if you can, could you possibly share a story about the game's development that no one knows about?
Ooh.
Something fun or not so fun, or a little hiccup along the way that you haven't shared with people. Just something interesting about the game's development that...
I'm not even in the office, so
just a fun, quirky story.
I'm wondering what we already mentioned, and if we didn't. Well,
I know it's hard for being as transparent as you guys are, but yes.
Did we already mention that we cut one whole biome?
Oh wow!
No,
we had to do it, to be honest.
A whole biome.
A whole biome.
I'm hearing potential future DLC, but
that's
go
all
on.
I'm hearing too. I'm hearing sequel, DLC.
It's going to be more difficult, but that was a big one. That was a big one because we thought it was going to be a good idea. I mean, no, I'm sorry. No, we didn't think it was. It was like in the plan, in the script, everywhere, but then it's just. We realized that it's better to make it smaller and better than bigger, and not that.
So what you're saying is size doesn't matter.
So... well, exactly.
All right.
Exactly. It's true.
Just making sure.
Let's see.
You heard it here. You heard it here first,
yes,
folks.
Quality matters.
Right?
Quality, yes.
Matters.
Quality over
it's
quantity.
It's not the size of the biomes.
Right.
It's how the biomes.
I still can't get over.
It's it's not the amount of biomes as well.
Yeah.
You know.
I must have missed the memo. Like this term biome, I know it's been around for a long time, but I've always called them levels or stages. I don't know if it's like a new thing that's
Returnal. Like for whatever reason, when Returnal came out, everyone's like biome. Like, okay, I guess we're calling them biomes now.
Well, in our story, it was more like islands or worlds, you could call it.
Yeah, world.
Is that something you guys would like to revisit at some point? Like, you know, if I think that
now we rewritten the story. So the story. Oh, no. You know what? We have too many.
So come on, give me a little one more, something more. Give me some.
Okay,
detail.
so for example, another good one. Kao's sister was originally her brother.
Oh, okay.
All right.
Okay.
Yes.
All right.
So
okay, that's a good little tidbit.
Good. Fun fact.
All right, headline: Kao used to have brother.
But I'm also, again, I don't want to keep
another DLC idea.
I don't want to keep dragging this out, but it just invites more questions. Like, what is the decision behind that change? Like, is it just, do you feel like you want a female presence alongside Kaja, or was there some other reason that you thought having a brother just didn't work? Like, what is the guiding force behind that change for that character?
Well, you know, we had many girls working on the game, and they needed to be represented. You know, for a very
there it is.
Okay, that's I don't know if it's the only reason or if it's the reason.
It's a damn good
but
one.
I would say it's a good one.
Yeah. It's a damn good one. All right, before we get into rapid fire, I have one more question.
Here we go.
What is I'm gonna each of you can answer. We'll start with Kaja. What is KO to you?
Ooh. Wow. That's deep.
It is.
Sean, get ready.
I'm already ready.
You go.
Okay,
then,
you can go first.
Game of the year.
Game of the year.
Here you go.
Wow.
Oh, good one.
No,
oh man, I feel it in my bones, Sean. It's I feel that.
Well, for me, I would say it's the past and the future.
Oh, that's a good one too. Oh my God, you guys, you're so good at this. You're so good at the thing you do.
God, I was trying to get as deep as you did.
I know, it's like so good.
Our rapid fire section is incoming, and it is brought to you by our Patreon producers, Colton, the Apprentice Nestler, and FNH Paul. You can be a Patreon supporter by going to patreon.com/NDS podcast, and just $1 gets you into our VIP Discord and gets you bonus content each and every single month. You can support us at the $3 tier, the $5 tier. We have all sorts of options for you, and we appreciate you very much. And please don't forget to like and subscribe to the program and share it with all of your friends. It is now time, Andy, to get into rapid fire.
It's here.
And you know where I'm starting with this one.
Do it.
You know
just do it.
You
just do
know
it. Just do it.
All right. You're both in your respective homes. It is the middle of the night. Okay?
I love this question.
Your phone rings. Oh, where's my phone ring? Oh, I got it. Hello? Hello, it's the police. Okay. Here's the deal. Sean has been arrested. What is his crime? Kaja. And then vice versa.
Sean went harassed Elon Musk to get the tick on Twitter.
Oh man, stalking. You're stalking Elon Musk. You know he buys entire companies so that people would stop doing that to him. So maybe he'll just buy Kaja.
Another idea.
You know
wow,
I mean?
So many, not only DLCs but business ideas.
There you go. We got everything here at Duel Screens. You get what you pay for, I guess. I don't know.
That's Sean. Same question.
Salt on the video game market. Hey,
you need to stop with the PR.
I'm quick.
Listen. He was hired for a reason.
But the question is, what did Kaja do?
Assault.
What did I do?
You assaulted the gaming market?
Yeah, there we go. With Kao the Kangaroo.
She'd be like the whole
But wait a
Jesus
second, who was
tables.
arrested? But in your version, I was arrested.
Yeah, you assaulted the video game market.
I would never do that. Okay.
That's what we're doing right now.
Wait, like the physical market? Like you went down to like the store and assaulted?
She just punched the GameStop employee in the face?
The pirated copies of Kao. It's like, nah, it's done now. You gotta buy it legit, lads.
Punch this game through your forehead. Boom. By Kao Kangaroo.
All right. I'm gonna ask you both the same question again, but I'm gonna ask Sean first this time. Sean, if Kaja was a video game mascot, what animal would she be, and what would her quirky sort of hook gameplay gimmick be?
I've already mentioned it. Blinks the Time Cat, because
she's Blinks the Time Cat.
You are a time cat. Congratulations.
Yeah, we're bringing it back together. So we time traveling, freezing time, and bringing it to the future. There we go.
Like that.
Yeah, but no one's gonna forget about her though. That's the thing you're missing.
No.
She's very memorable.
We're talking about Blinks now, so
it's true. We're bringing it back.
Forget about Blinks.
All right, so she's a time traveling cat. That's what she is.
Okay.
All right. So what's Sean? Kaja, what's his? What animal is he? And what does
he do? Be careful,
do?
because I control the Twitter, so I can make havoc.
Elon controls the Twitter now.
Sean, what would you like to be?
Just say Gex or Croc. Gex.
No, wait. I want you. What about if you are time traveling? So you are I know you must be magic something because you are you do magic with words. So you must be a magic mascot, magic monkey.
Okay,
magic wordsmithing monkey.
Magic monkey. I love it.
Yes, with that makes magic with its words.
Love it.
Okay.
Magical.
Okay.
I don't know what game. I don't know. Take it.
that game might not be. Might not have a very large audience.
There we go. They have monkeys.
Hey, a larger audience than Blinks, that's for sure.
Here's a question that I think I know the answer to, but I'm curious to know what you guys think. Which one of you is more likely to get inside of a Kao the Kangaroo costume at a convention?
I don't know who you think you thought is going to be more likely, and I don't know who you all thought is more likely, but I would totally get into it. Again,
that was my guess.
Fact.
Yeah.
Good one.
Yeah, for sure. I see that.
By the way, we used to have them back in the day. So today, I'm sorry, it's maybe too much, but we are now working with a distributor here in Poland that used to also distribute one of the old games, and they remember the parties back then, and they told us about it, and there was a kangaroo costume involved.
Hell yeah.
Yes, at nights and mornings, but serving different stuff.
Interesting. Interesting.
What does that cost? Can I rent it?
Can we just get an invite to the party? Like, I don't need to. We don't need the costume.
The one 20 years ago.
No, like the one you're gonna have.
I know I'm time traveling, but yeah. I can't. Take
if we fly to Poland for the launch party in like 2 weeks, can we like get some free food out of it?
Can we get pictures with a kangaroo?
Right.
Like.
Got a Warsaw Zoo. I think there's a kangaroo there.
Yeah, there you go.
There it is.
Now you see, we can make everything happen.
I like it.
Oh man, that's like a PR nightmare. Bringing an actual kangaroo.
Oh Jesus!
To like, hey guys, there's a kangaroo in the office to celebrate the launch.
Well, they are boxers, right?
They will kick the fuck out of you. I have seen a kangaroo kick the shit out of some stuff. Let me tell you. Goodness gracious!
All right, Sean.
They get up on the nail.
Kao has some amazing elemental abilities tied to his boxing gloves. If you were in charge of the game's development and you were like the sole decision maker, I want you to tell me a goofy element that you would give Kao, like spaghetti or something weird like that.
I would give him the power of the internet, and he would crash the NFT market.
Heard that. Heard that. Again, not a great game, but I'm with you on that. I'm with you on that for sure.
It's good.
All right, let's get some quick ones in here.
Yeah, let's do it.
Would you rather have the power of flight or invisibility?
Invisibility, I think.
Okay. This is why I like you, Sean. You get it.
Despite being a crux, usually when I'm in when I go shopping, I don't like it when people are aware of you, I just like to kind of be my own thing. It's like, let me go in, let me get out. This way I don't have to pay for food either. So
just leave me alone.
Yeah,
I love it. Don't look at me.
Sean is so famous, he goes to a store
ham.
and then there's just million people around him.
Exactly.
What about you, Kaja?
What was the first one?
Flight.
Sorry.
Would you rather fly or be able to go invisible?
I think I would rather fly.
Yeah, hell yeah.
I could go to different places very fast.
Great.
Cool.
Since we've brought up time travel so much on this show, I feel, would you rather have the ability to go forwards in time or backwards in time?
I don't know, because time travel. I've seen a lot of films. I've played some games where you time travel, and the slightest mistake changes everything.
Oh, so listen, you're not going to disrupt the continuum or break reality.
Oh, okay.
You could go somewhere safely, either forwards or backwards. Do you want to go in the past or do you want to go into the future? What's your immediate?
I'd probably go with the past, and try and grab that original Half-Life big box release that I want, and then take it back. That's it.
Priorities.
Oh, no, you can't go back.
I can't go back. Sorry,
you could only go backwards in time, and then you have to stay there until you get back.
Well, listen, you could stay there and ensure Half-Life 3 happens. That's also
that's the other thing.
I'm fine with that not happening. I don't know. Then that's the difficult one.
I'd
probably go back.
Yeah,
to when I was a kid, and I don't know, maybe take a bit more effort in making sure my hairline doesn't disappear.
Oh no, it's gone. There's nothing you can do about it. It's gone. There's nothing you can do about that. I mean, you could keep. You'd better off be going into the future actually, because there's probably better procedures for that.
Right. Way better toupees they got in the future.
It's a slap head. I'm going to stay away from that.
Kai, what about you?
Or I'll just bald in the future. That's also a possibility. So
I would go all the way back in time.
Oh, careful. Yeah.
How far back are we talking about?
It wasn't that easy for ladies back then. Be careful.
But is it going to be easier in the future?
Oh, we don't
for
know.
Anyone,
I
don't know.
She could go back and make it better now. It's also, she could lay the foundation for a better today. Or just make really awesome games.
That's such a tough question, man, because we would be so weird in the past.
I don't know. Yeah, it's tough.
Even if you took me and brought me back 30 years ago, the shit that I know now would be so foreign. 1992? What is that?
I feel like if you just went back to 20 years ago with what I know today, I'd be burned as a witch.
Yeah.
Nope. Nope.
I have a good one. This is another this or that. Would you rather safely? Here's the caveat: it's safe. You will not die. We have the technology. Okay. Would you rather know what's out a nearby solar system, explore a nearby solar system, other planets, etc., or would you rather discover or explore the deepest, darkest, unexplored parts of our own planet?
Oh, our own planet, for sure. As long as it's not water. I can't handle water. That creeps us out. But put me in a forest.
But it's safe. But what if you're guaranteed safety?
I don't like being underwater. You just float around. It's
Yeah, I mean, what if I put you in a little machine,
It depends what's in the machine.
Air conditioned, it has a bed,
See, I would like to explore some hidden cave that turns out to be I don't know, the end of Evil Dead 3, where Ash wakes up.
No, thank you.
It's this whole portal thing. I'll take that.
Oh, it's terrifying. I hate that.
Yeah, would you drink too much of the juice and wake up at the wrong time?
Sometimes it feels like it.
All right.
Wait, did Kaja answer that one?
Oh yeah, Kaja.
I was just gonna go with Sean.
Okay.
We'll go
all
together.
Right.
You're going.
All right.
You're going.
Here we go.
Yeah.
We're going exploring
All right,
together.
Andy, let's get one more and then we'll get out of here.
All right.
We'll do the final question after you.
Now, it's a bit of a two-parter. We're more of a preface. Have you guys I'm sure you spent FaceTime together, hung out as colleagues, the both of you, correct? You've gone out drinking or
enjoying each other's company.
Once. This big cheesy bowl of pasta, and I didn't tell him that I didn't like cheese. So,
so Kaja, what word best describes Sean, or that you think best describes Sean when he's had too much to drink?
I don't drink.
God damn it!
There you
go. All right. Well, Sean, what about her? What word describes?
I don't know. I'm not seeing her drink. Like we do.
What's in that KO?
We didn't have time to play hard yet. Okay.
Again,
so for now it's been just working hard.
All I'm saying is,
but in 2 weeks,
flights are real cheap right now.
We'll ask you again in 2 weeks. What was Sean like when he was drunk 2 weeks from now?
We'll do a follow-up interview.
That's a time travel question too, you guys.
Look at this. We got a lot of time travel here. Blink's actually, it touched a lot of people, I think.
I know.
This is interesting.
Shit.
It's marketing. I got the idea in your head.
We dumped on that guy for all the wrong reasons.
All right. It is now time for the final question and the most difficult question of this entire interview's process. Honestly, it's probably the most difficult question of your life.
Correct.
Both of your lives.
Mm-hmm.
Sean likes to think he's got all the answers, but I don't know. This one could stump him. It's a very simple question, but it's the most difficult question. Do you understand how that works?
Yep.
They get it. They've heard it.
Literally, a baby can answer this, but you still have to answer it. Okay? The question is, Andy or Steven?
I knew that. I knew.
Steve, because he's got the belt in the background.
That's right.
So he's classified champion already. That's
it.
Sorry.
Even being an asshole.
Sorry, Andy.
It's all right.
Now listen, Kaja, I don't want to say this, but a lot of the times, the second guest, after they let the first one go, they just pick the other one just for shits and gigs because they don't want to make us feel bad. Trust me, Andy cannot feel any worse than he already does. So you don't have to worry about making him feel bad if you also want to be with the champion. And we both have blinds behind us, which is another, we both have that going for us. I'm just saying.
I believe everyone is a champion.
That's true. You're right.
So yeah. So I guess I'm going to go with what everyone goes with.
All right, Andy, you got
or not everyone, but
Listen, I need to but
it's not. But Andy is not like it because of that. Okay, so you know what? You were right. To be honest, he's not even going to believe that, right?
No, too modest.
But you know what? You know why? Because we were emailing, right?
For a very long time.
Yeah. Andy's our communications guy.
So see, we've been in touch for a little bit longer.
I don't think Andy has ever CC'd me on any of his emails in our
I don't need to.
Together. I'm just saying.
Maybe that's why.
I could also
that people
be
answer that question there.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Well,
I think I'm gonna start phrasing that question like, we're both in a tent and it's on fire. Who do you save?
A tent?
Yes.
Stop dropping.
Why are we there? Who knows? Yeah.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, that's going to bring us to the end of the show. This has been the Duel Screens Podcast, the internet's #1 indie developer interview podcast, hosted by two people you've never heard of, probably. The show posts each and every Friday for your listening pleasure on your podcast service of choice, including our home, Podbean. It's also on youtube.com/DuelScreensTV. You can check out our other podcasts. We have Indies Nuts Podcast, which is all about the latest and greatest indie news, previews, and reviews. Which we just did our second episode of that. That's a brand new show, and it is doing phenomenally for us here at Duel Screens. So we cannot thank you guys enough for all of your support. You can also check out Duel Screens Crossplay Podcast, which is our kind of big three console and PC podcast where we go over the news and all that fun stuff over there. So you guys can check that out too. If you like your podcasts in video form, our YouTube channel has them all. We have crossed over the threshold. We are killing it right now since PAX. Our PAX coverage has been doing phenomenally. We're still putting up more PAX content and demos and previews and all that fun stuff and interviews. It's been going really well, but not as well as this show, which was phenomenal. If you want to follow us on social media, we're at Duel_Screens. I'm at Batchild27. Andy is at PantsGuy. And our Facebook group is facebook.com/groups/DS Podcasts. And you could also watch us do crossplay and Indies Nuts Podcast live if you want on our Twitch channel, twitch.tv/Duel Screens Streams. And that's on Tuesdays and Wednesdays, respectively. We do Tuesdays will be crossplay, and Wednesdays is Indies Nuts. And yes, it is a pun. You're hearing it correctly. But it's fun, and we're indies, and we're nuts about indies. You get it? Where can everybody find you guys?
Kao the Kangaroo on Twitter.
No,
I think that's why.
Okay.
Not the blue check mark.
It's stars as well, right?
Yeah, it's on Facebook, LinkedIn, MySpace, Bebo, Yahoo Cities.
GeoCities.
Yes.
I had one of those.
Tweet some VHS, just pick it up from the shop.
Oh man!
Everywhere you can put.
It's on your AOL members account. This, it's all over the place.
Yeah. You could also you could still wish list right now on Steam, and of course you go to Tate Multimedia homepage. You can just go to their website, tatemultimedia.com. That's gonna do it for us, man. Thank you, Andy.
Buy the game, the 27th of May, you guys. It's like around the corner. Oh my God!
Xbox, PlayStation, Nintendo Switch, PC, physical, digital.
Oh man, you guys did it. We're so happy.
Special limited editions with a giant kangaroo costume or something like that.
Or at least some boxing.
We'll talk.
Special editions will. Yeah.
Thank you, Andy. Thank you, Kaja. Thank you, Sean. Thank you, listeners. Thank you, viewers.
Thank you, fans of KO, for making this happen.
You did the magic. Keep
did
those,
it, guys.
Every once in a while, one of them petitions makes it and does a thing. And as always, please be excellent.